Hi everybody. I'm going to do a quick altar tour because why not? I have two altars essentially, well, three really, but two of them are more like shrines, I guess. You guys already saw my Dagda altar that I put together. It's still upstairs in the kitchen and still going really well, and I love having him in there, and it's just wonderful. But I wanted to kind of share a little bit more about how I really work, because I'm not the type of person that does my spell work in the same area every time. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and also show you my goddess altar and kind of explain what I have on there, because I don't think I've ever really, or at least for a minute, haven't chatted about what's on the altar and why. So I'm gonna do that too. And we're just gonna have fun with it, okay? Okay. All right, so my floor is a little messy. I have a temporary litter box here, so we'll just block that out. When we first moved in, I knew this was gonna be my witchy room slash office because I just love the vibe. Outside this window here is the greenhouse area, which needs to still be cleared out. The landlord still has some things in there, which hopefully they'll do before the really cold days set in. But this is my desk. This is my desk setup. It's a little cluttered. It is where I work for my daily job every day.
Oh, as if.
It's also where I do drunken divinations. It's also what I like to call my working altar. So I call it my working altar because there's magic. I like to mix the magic and mundane a lot, okay? I've got candles, I've got crystals, I have journals and books that I'm reading and working on and adding to the Book of Shadows. I have literal tools. I have a nail file because I file my nails. I play Dungeons and Dragons here. I have just literally everything you can think of that a witch would need. I mean, look, herbs, literally, oils, like whatever I'm working on at a time, it's here. You know what I mean? Like it touches this desk pretty much. So if I'm doing a spell, more than likely I'm doing it here or I'm doing it upstairs in the kitchen, because the kitchen is the heart of the home, in my opinion. So, and I got all kinds of files and shit in here. Some more, sketchbooks, journals and stuff down there. That to me is an altar. A desk is an altar. It's, a lot of people think that you have to, sorry, I had to put out an incense, it relit. Has that ever happened to you guys? Anyway, a desk where you work should be comfortable and efficient, and it serves a purpose. It is an altar. You know what I mean? So there's that. You can kind of see my my wristband from Bumbershoot there. Oh, I also got crystals up here. So it's just, yeah. My books are all over here on this shelf. So the plan is, by the way, let me zoom out a little bit. Got some, that's there because there's still furniture I need to put together that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put that together, and I never do. So the plan is that most of my books are here. It's completely full. This poor bookshelf is probably screaming. The plan is to get another bookshelf, just like that one, and put it here. And split my books between the two and bring in herbs, because I have a crap ton of herbs. As you can see here, there's already some there. I have a crap ton of herbs that I need to find homes for. So that's the goal. Once finances allow me to do that, I will do that. And this is my goddess altar. So we're gonna talk about some things that I have here. It looks a little cluttered and a little messy, and that's okay. In the move, I purchased this specifically for her. I wanted to give her a really nice space that I could also house things like incense in, because she is my top incense source, I guess. Not source, but reason. So inside here, I have crystals, I have other little knickknacks, if you want to call them that. I have seeds, I have oils, some charcoal, all kinds of things. So that's storage. You'll also notice that currently these things don't have handles. And that's because I purchased this very cheaply off the internet, because the door matches the bookshelf door, right? And for whatever reason, the holes that were pre-drilled into the drawer and the doors were not wide or long enough for, well, they weren't wide enough for the hardware screw, and the hardware screw was too short to go completely through. So I was just like, fuck it, I'll just buy my own handles at some point. And I also think that she kind of wanted it that way, but that's just my opinion. So I guess I'll start with some things that are always here. That's a fake tail that Ravenflower gave me. And I've got a crow here, obviously to represent the Morrigan. I have a cauldron here where I burn incense. I have 2 candles here and here, mostly for light and decoration. This is kind of a working candle. I will light this. I mean, it's more so hers. This is her candle. And it was a goddess candle. It was a triple goddess candle. And I made it and, you know, dressed it with oil and everything. But as you can see, it's almost done. So I went and got this one out of storage, which Ravenflower also gifted me because of the black skull. And I was like, and it smells nice. So I light those for her, and I light incense for her and put them in the cauldron. I have 3 statues because so the Morrigan for me is and I'm sorry if I'm shaking the camera too much, but the Morrigan for me is a triple goddess. So there's that. And one day I may get a crone image. If I can find a crone image that I like, I'll put it up here. But for now I have this. This statue was planned, purchased it, blessed it. I have no idea what it's made out of. I thought it was resin, but I think they actually put in some maybe bronze or something, or copper, because I've noticed in some areas, if you look really, really close, I mean, you can't really see it now because I've kind of taken away some of the tarnish, but it is turning green. In Florida, actually, it started to turn green, and I think it's because our apartment during the last hurricane that, you know, we had to get out of, our apartment filled with water, and all the plants and everything were basically, it just turned the whole apartment into a really hot, humid greenhouse because the power went out and everything. And I think that the humidity got to the statue a bit. So like you can kind of, especially on the back, like there's a good spot right there. You see on her cloak there's some greening or some tarnishing still happening. So that's kind of cool. I actually like that, but I tried to, after we moved here to Washington, I tried to, you know, clear some of that away because, yeah. So this is an image of Danu, or Danu. She is an Irish river goddess who is thought to be connected with the Morrigan. Some people think that she was the Morrigan's mother or stepmother. I see her as an image of the Morrigan or a face of the Morrigan. She is actually the main face of the Morrigan that I currently work with as I am coming out of my 20s and getting into my 30s. it's the face that I just kind of relate to the most. I don't know. Anyway, even saying that is oversimplifying my relationship with her, but yeah. So, Danu. Since we're talking about her right now, I'll go ahead and go through the things that are here. So I have a Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service pin that I got from Calypso's. I do wear this, but whenever I wear it when I want to feel cutesy witchy. So it's kind of a talisman. So I leave it here to kind of get those vibes. I do have a key here because a lot of people associate keys with, you know, the goddess, Mama. I don't recognize her as Hecate, but I have thoughts.
Just you do? Oh, Helen is the enemy.
There, just know that it's there. I have a charm for creativity with a little bit of stuff there. So I've got that there. To me, I put this here because it's hers. It's, to me, a moon, a symbol of the moon and energy and all that. I have a charm here that is by Christopher Penzak. And it is for spirit communication. It's got a sigil for spirit communication on the front, so I leave that here. And as you can see, there's a Triskelion or a Trisky symbol in the pensieve that she's holding. And I keep these, I don't know, I'm just weird. To me, it's about what she likes and what looks good. And my good friend Stephanie gave me this crow coin, which also has some words on it. So, and obviously because the Morrigan and crows. Let's see, I've got the Morrigan's image here. I'm being very careful because it's starting to get cooler outside. Finally, like we're getting into fall. So the spiders are coming in from the garden and they are leaving webs where they feel safe. So there's a web here that I'm trying not to destroy because I don't see her, but I'm sure she's there somewhere. And I recently used abandoned web for a spell. So I do use, you know, yeah, and spiders and goddess. It's just, yeah, I'm sure you get the connections I'm making. But anyway, so I'm trying to be very careful. This is the Morrigan. I'm not sure who this image is by. I'll have to do some research and input that. It might be by Maxine as well. I mean, the style is kind of similar, but it's smaller. And this was actually gifted to me by Anthony, by my husband, before we were married and while we were dating. So there's that. And then for the third image, and he knew I worked with the Morrigan and all that, and he just thought I would like it. And I was like, yeah, I absolutely love it. This image, oh, I forget his name, but this is carved stone or clay of some kind, and then it was painted. We went to Belize on a witchy cruise that Raven had put together, and I was really interested in learning about the ancient cultures that used to live there because my husband Anthony is Mexican descent, and he has been told by his family members that he has ties to Aztec culture as well as Mayan culture. So we went and we climbed a temple of Mayan build while we were in Belize. I do have a video up of that trip. But there was an artist, there was a Mayan shaman and a Mayan artist who recreated Mayan art and images. And one of the stories that the artist told us was about Ixchel. And if you don't know who Ixchel is, she is very much a mother goddess. The Mayans associated her with the moon, and she was often depicted in 3 different stages of motherhood. So a maiden and mother, being pregnant, obviously, and then after pregnancy, a crone image. So I fell in love with her image and her story. She's also connected to rainbows and magic, which is really fucking awesome. It's just, to me, the Mayans and the ancient Irish had a lot of similarities in that they all saw caves and things like that as holy places or sacred places. So with me falling in love and marrying a man who has genetic ties to this ancient culture, I felt like at the time I was looking for ways to also honor his ancestors, because even though he doesn't have a full-fledged practice ironed out yet, as a medium, I hate that word, but as somebody who experiences ancestors and spirits on a regular basis, I've met some of his ancestors. I just wanted to represent them in the home. And I got this image not intending to have her on my goddess altar, but guess who said I needed to put it there? So this was just gonna be, it was intended as like a interesting piece for the home, and turns out she had her own place here. So I don't know, but that's why she's there. Some people may see that as a bad and negative thing. I don't. I don't know a lot about the Mayan culture. I'm not a professional. I am not a practitioner of Mayan culture, but I know her name. I know a little bit about her story, and she vibed with me, and I vibed with her being on the altar, and she didn't seem to mind it at all. So anyway, moving on. So that's why she's there. That may change, but for now, I like having her there. I have crow wings here that I got from, I think, Michael's years back. They hold the Crow Tarot, which I associate with the Morrigan. Whenever I want to talk specifically to her, I'll use that. I also have a labradorite palm stone with a really nice flash here. This was gifted to me by Raven Flower. And I have a citrine stone here. And I'll use these during readings as well. The citrine, I believe, connects me to spirit communication a lot easier. Aside from that, you can see here, this usually isn't here. This is actually a spell I did recently. I like to return things to the earth, or if I don't have time for them, I'll give them to the goddess to kind of like put it in her hands for a while as an offering. So there's that. There's another key. There's some, I'm not sure what this is. I want to say it's merlinite. It looks like a merlinite type of deal. This is merlinite for sure. But I keep those because they're associated with magic. And Merlin Knight, or, you know, who this was the namesake. Merlin also had a little bit of a demonization in his story of the Morrigan with Morgan Le Fay. So there's some connections there. Anyway, so that's why those crystals are there. I have some more, I think this is labradorite as well, that my friend Mark gave me. I have what I believe is another, it's either merlinite or it's some other type of dark stone that Stephanie gave me a while back. Sometimes I will wear it, but I have pretty much given it to Mom. So that's hers. And then I have her offering bowl, which was the Triquetra, but this bowl was gifted to me by Ravenflower, and it has the triple moon goddess symbol on it. So I gave the Triquetra offering bowl to Dagda and gave mom the triple moon. Let's see, what else is here that I haven't talked about yet? Pretty much everything in the back has meaning too. Raven let me have this, which is some sort of coaster, but it has thistles on it, and the thistles have a connection to Scottish symbology. And I recently learned that I not only have Irish ancestry, but my DNA also has Scottish connection as well, which is really interesting because in the Ulster cycle, there's some theories about, you know, which Ulster cycle includes the Morrigan. There's some theories about how a lot of people came from Scotland and settled in Ireland, and that's where a lot of the similarities and all of that come from. Anyway, there's more on that later, but
Yeah! Yeah!
in the back here, I have an owl image because pretty much every room in the house has some sort of owl, because that is my personal animal strength thing, whatever you want to call that, but I've always had an affinity for owls. There is shungite here, which is part of the whole dark goddess protection vibe. I've got some smudge sticks or what have you. None of them are white sage. I promise, none of them are white sage. There's a lot of a disagreement about sage and who can use white sage and all of that. I've actually never had a very big connection with white sage. I'll only use it if it's all I have available, but I grow my own sage and that's typically what I use. This is black sage. This was a huge fucking wormwood. That's what it is. It's black sage. It's not white sage, but it was a huge stick and I got it to smudge my cards with it and to burn during drunken divs. So if I ever need a little bit of an extra boost, I'll burn that. And I've got a rosemary stick here that I got from Calypso's, and I have some lavender that I collected locally over the summer drying out because I really enjoy the combination of lavender, rosemary, and regular garden sage. That's my favorite mix. So yeah, and I think I've said that way too many times. I'm sure everybody knows that already. So that tray is for cleansing, and then I've got some shells. I've got several, some people call them witches balls or spell balls. Anthony got me a Stella Luna stuffed animal from a local store here on the island. I loved Stella Luna. I've always been obsessed with owls and bats. I don't know, little goth kid. So that's my altar, and then like I said, I've got our altars, and then I've got the Dagda altar upstairs. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little walkthrough. It was kind of quick, but yeah. All right, bye.